Good morning, traders. I am Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Wednesday, August 28th. A little green is better than no green. Stocks struggled to find direction yesterday, but all three major indices closed regular trading in the green. The Dow added 10 points or 0.02%. The S&P 500 picked up 8 points or 0.16%. The Nasdaq gained 29 points or 0.16%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're flat this morning. The change on the day is 0.00. I mean, it was up 0.04. So very slightly positive higher, but, it's a very cautious environment this morning because the market's really just waiting on one event right now, and that's the earnings that are coming out this afternoon from NVDA, and that's going to be the big catalyst for the day. But that's not happening until after the market closes. Last night we got some good earnings report from Centennial, Nordstrom's, Box. They all came out with positive earnings. After the bell today, we have NVIDIA, but we also have Salesforce, CrowdStrike, Hewlett-Packard, VEEV Systems, Pure Storage, and Five Below. They're all reporting as well. I'm looking at the economic calendar. The economic calendar is really light today. There's not a whole lot going on today, but I do see that oil prices are really slipping this morning. I mean, that's 2 days in a row. Let's take a look at overseas action. We got the DAX. The DAX is trading higher. The DAX is up 0.88%. Large cap stocks are doing well. We're looking at the FTSE. The FTSE's down, 0.13%. Pharma stocks are higher, but with oil falling, and that index really, weighted by oil and minor stocks, that doesn't surprise me that the index is trading a little off this morning. But the CAC, on the other hand, is up 0.54%. Consumer confidence in France, that indicator climbed to 92.1 in August, which was aligned with forecasts, but it's at its highest level since February 2022. So good to see. We're looking last night in Asia, and Asia saw a mixed bag. I'd say mixed to lower. I mean, the Nikkei jumped, 0.22%. The equities benefited from a weaker yen. The Bank of Japan officials came out. He delivered semi-dovish comments about potential rate hikes that helped Japanese equities. In Hong Kong, you saw, that market fell 1.02%. Sentiment really weakened. Technology stocks were weak in Hong Kong. Then you got China, the Shanghai exchange. It did fall 0.40, 0.4% overnight. There was, some positive action in the consumer services sector, but that was offset by auto losses in autos and real estate. So, it's still very weak and, trading near that 2,800 level. If it breaks 2,800, it's a big buy. Let's take a look at oil, because there's a lot of action in oil this morning because we got WTI at $74.21 a barrel. That's down 1.75%. You got Brent at $78.31 a barrel. That's down 1.56%. What's interesting is the API data, American Petroleum Institute, they put out their stockpile estimates, and it indicated a decline of 3.4 million barrels for last week, which surpassed the expectations of a decline of 3 million barrels, and a decrease is actually bullish for oil prices. But you got the API data, the API data last night, but, that's just estimates. This morning we got the EIA data, which is the official numbers. We'll have to see how they come in. The big thing here is, Middle East action. I mean, they're continuing to take away some of that volatility premium that was in there for the Middle East period. And there's news reports out there that the Libya situation where they've stopped oil production, it's not going to be a long-term situation, because that means no incoming money when they have no oil production. So it can't last too long. And then you've got some of the major brokerage firms that are, reducing their price targets on oil. So yeah, I'm not surprised we're seeing oil weaken, but it still has some room to go lower. I do see that, but that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
And Bill, later in the show, we will get to those economic events, as you mentioned, that stockpile reports due out today. But you also mentioned there in your opening, NVIDIA is the big headline here in terms of watching earnings, sort of the major market catalyst, as you pointed out. But there were a number of other earnings that were worth taking a look at. So, Bill, give us a rundown of everything we should be watching when it comes to earnings action.
Sure. Let's talk about NCINCO, ticker NCNO, Nancy Charlie, Nancy Oscar. They beat by a penny. They did it on higher revenue, not good enough. Stock's down 12% this morning. We're talking Box, ticker BOX. They beat by 4 cents. They did it on higher revenue. Stock's up 7.7% this morning. I was trading this one last night. It was a good little move. Centennial One, ticker S as in Sam, they beat by 1 cent on higher revenue. You look at that stock this morning, it's up 2.2%. That's a nice one. Abercrombie and Fitch, they did deliver a beat this morning. Stocks, stocks actually lower by 5.77% this morning. It just wasn't good enough. So a little nervous there. And Kohl's, ticker KSS, they delivered a beat this morning. That stock's up 2.76%. Still has some room to move higher. Upcoming after the bell, HP's coming out. That's ticker HPQ. Henry Paul Quinton, their EPS estimate is 86 cents. Expected move is 7.70%. You got CrowdStrike, ticker CRWD. Their EPS is 98 cents. Expected move is 9.64%. Salesforce, ticker CRM. Charlie Richard Mary, their EPS is $2.35. Expected move is 7.6%. And NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, their EPS is 63 cents. Expected move 11%. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with NVIDIA when they come out. But all eyes are on that stock this morning, Emily.
And Bill, you'll be watching that using the NewsWare alert you set up for your earnings. You also have a NewsWare alert set up for economic events. We did mention the stockpiles report. There's also some Fed speak to be keeping an eye on today. And again, looking for clues on what they're going to do next. Seems to be a favorite activity of investors. So Bill, give us a look at everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
Sure. Hey, at 10:30 a.m. This morning, we get the EIA oil stockpile report. That's the key one. That's going to be a driver for oil prices today. This morning, we did hear from Christopher Waller. He, the Fed governor, he was speaking at a fintech conference in India. He was really commenting on fast payment systems and cross-border payments. He didn't say anything about monetary policy. At 2:45 p.m. today, we're going to hear from Vice Chair of Supervision, Michael Barr. He's going to be giving a speech. And then at 6 p.m. tonight, we're going to hear from Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic. Now, he's is expected to address the current economic conditions in the Fed's monetary policy outlook. He's likely to include the possibility, discussions of future rate cuts in response to economic data. So he could have a very dovish comment, which would really be beneficial for tomorrow morning. But Raphael Bostic, Atlanta Fed Bank President, speaking today, 6 p.m., Emily.
Bill, watching your earnings, as I mentioned, using your NewsWare alerts, you're watching those economic events and Fed speak using NewsWare alerts, and you're still watching other market moving information, looking for direction, even ahead of those NVIDIA earnings, looking for other pieces of news that can help you find opportunity in the day in and day out. You look at other types of news, things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news. You also look at your stocks group together, like your FANG stocks, your Dow 30 stocks. You even find other catalysts. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Just doing a quick data check this morning. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 9 higher, 10 lower. The rest unchanged. It's a lot of unchanged for today. It's kind of a slow market. But you're looking at your FANG stocks. We are showing some positive activity. I mean, Google's down a penny. Nothing. Tesla's down 26 cents, but everything else is trading higher. So, it looks like we could have a, positive opening. S&Ps are up 0.02% right now, so that's good. You're looking at some of the news behind the headlines, like Apple. Apple's cutting 100 jobs from its digital services group. I don't think that's really significant. Meta Platforms, Mark Zuckerberg, his letter to Congress, hey, that's still important news. I mean, he really wants to be a media platform, but without censorship. The government should not censorship. But he also wants to be an accredited news agency, but honestly, he can't be because he's not going to be doing fact checking. So that's kind of an issue because to be an accredited news agency, you have to go back and admit when you make mistakes. Like Fox News, they're not accredited. I mean, if they make a mistake, they don't have to go back there and rectify it, where an accredited news agency does. So, they're more of an entertainment network, and that makes a lot of sense. Remember, they're Inside Edition. They just turned it into a news organization, and by doing sensational headlines, they're able to get better ratings, and ratings is really the key. And forget being accredited. If your goal is to make money, do the sensationalized news, and it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. And that's really what Zuckerberg's thinking is. It's like, look at the value of Fox, what they do by not being an accredited agency and being able to kind of pump out stories based on erroneous information and never have to fact check it. I mean, it's beneficial in terms of the ratings, it's beneficial in terms of the business. Being a media platform, there's a lot more restrictions. And that's why he's like saying, hey, I don't want to be censored. Makes sense. Tesla, Elon Musk. Listen, there's news stories out there. It came out late last night that he's testing a video conferencing tool. Now, you're like, so what? I mean, Microsoft has one, Zoom has one. There's a number of free ones out there. But this could be a game changer because if he does it with Twitter, I mean, there's all those other systems that are doing video conferencing and doing, group shares that could be very beneficial. That those guys get a lot of usage, and this could be key for X or Twitter. I mean, I like the idea of what he's doing there. I think it makes a lot of sense. Let's move on to Dow Jones 30 stocks and Walmart. Walmart grows its marketplace assortment and launches a category expansion. They're really focusing on their fulfillment center as well. They're really ramping up to compete with Amazon. Disney, ticker DIS. It's in the news this morning. Disney and Reliance, they won in that antitrust approval out of India for a merger to commit their subscription rates. They're going to comply with regulatory norms. So it's positive for Disney this morning. What else do we see here? Apple's in talks with Zip. They're in Australia. Buy now, pay later operation. Okay, could be something. In terms of guidance news, let's talk PVH, Paul Victor Henry. I mean, the stock's, down hard after, earnings. It's down 8.71%. Now, I knew going in, the stock was going to move like 9%, and sure enough, it's down 8.77%. But the call volume, to put volume just didn't look good. It didn't give me a good feeling there. But they see they came out and with their guidance, and they see Q3 EPS coming in at $2.50. Street estimate was at $3.12. That's a big downtick. Centennial One, ticker S, they see Q3 revenue coming in 209.5 million. Street estimate is 209.47, and that's flat. That's okay. Box, ticker BOX, ACQ3 adjusted EPS coming in 41 cents to 42 cents. Street estimate has it at 39 cents. That's an uptick. Kohl's, ticker KSS, they see Q4 2024 EPS coming in $1.75 to $2.25. The street estimate is $1.56. I mean, yeah, that's interesting. Kohl's could run further from here. Ticker KSS. Interesting. Let's move on over to the shareholders, things going on. AMD, Micron, SMCI, they're all presenting today at a Deutsche Bank Tech Conference. This could be something. AMD, it's got their VP talking. It could be something. I'm keeping an eye on it. In terms of catalyst events going on today, Citibank, CLX, Charlie Larry X-Ray. Citibank upgrades CLX. They upgrade their price target to 165. But they also opened up a 90-day positive catalyst watch into the stocks, ticker CLX. Interesting. Could be something there today. But that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
Going with Pure Storage, ticker PSTG, Paul, Sam, Tom, Grace. Earnings are out after the bell. EPS is 38 cents. Expected move is 14.23%. You're looking at yesterday's call volume, 6,068 calls, 6068 versus put volume of 1,620, 1620. Wow, that's a big divergence. That's like 5-1, 4-1. You're looking at the call open interest, 46,624 versus 28,474. Again, that's a checkbox. I like that. That's a good call volume. You're looking at the major brokers. They're positive on the stock. Not all the minor brokers aren't, but the major brokers are raising price targets. So, that's good to see. In terms of an entry price, I could see it pushed down. I mean, we got a really wide spread this morning, $60 to $62 essentially. It's $61.99. I'm saying 62. I'm going to try and get in under $60. I'm going to wait for that entry price. If I can get under $60, I think this is going to be a little winner for me. So that's my pick of the day. PSTG, Paul, Sam, Tom, Grace on an earnings play. Earnings are due out this afternoon under 160, Emily.
Pure Storage is today on an earnings play, and yesterday's pick today was not an earnings play, but coming up we will do a recap on that to see how that went. So stick with us, but ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Hyundai Motor is going to launch an autonomous vehicle foundry business. Okay. Abercrombie and Fitch post Q2 earnings revenue beat. Yeah, Hyundai Motors, they did that during their investors day today. That's why you pay attention to these things. Kohl's beat on earnings estimates, raise EPS guidance, shares rise. Smucker's SJM cites inflationary pressure for revised 2025 guidance. Okay, what else do we see here? Let's talk GSK, GlaxoSmithKline Beckham. Delaware Supreme Court granted review of the Superior Court's decision on Zantac, which, Glaxo think they're going to win this, and so they brought it to the Supreme Court, and they likely can. This could be interesting. Medtronic's MDT CEO is going to be speaking on September 4th at the Wells Fargo Healthcare Conference. Could be something. Novartis, ticker NVS, announced positive top-line results from its twice-yearly cholesterol drug. Capital One slams speculative customer lawsuit over $35 billion Discover deal that they're trying to pull off. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off and dive into trading today, let's do a check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Broadcom. Now, Bill, just as you anticipated, the CEO had a speaking engagement yesterday, and you thought there'd be some positive news around cloud and AI, and sure enough, the company did introduce a new VMware Tanzu Platform 10, and that's to accelerate intelligent application delivery in the private cloud. Now, investors did like that. The stock was in the green yesterday. How did your call work out?
I mean, it actually worked out very well. I mean, if you just look at the numbers, I said get in under 159, and the stock opened up at 157.60. I mean, that was a bargain price, and then it ran all the way up to 162.03. So either way, you got your 1%, and it closed at 161.39. So that was also a benefit. Avago worked out. Now the key here is listen, we did this broadcast, we put it up there, well before 9 o'clock, in the morning yesterday. And the point is that the press releases started to hit at 9 a.m. introducing VMware's Tanzu Platform 10 to accelerate intelligence applications. I mean, we delivered it before the news hit the tape. We saw the tea leaves. We read the tea leaves. We knew this was coming. And then with the CEO speaking at noon, you knew it was going to be a pep rally. You knew they were going to say good things. You knew only positive stuff was going to come out of it. And sure enough, it did. And the stock rallied off of it. Rallied up to some, a nice range. You got a good gain off of it. So AVGO, Apple Victor Grace Oscar on the news event was a positive moneymaker yesterday, Emily.
That was certainly a win. And again, reading those tea leaves and staying ahead of the markets instead of trailing behind. And that was a perfect example of that. And we will check in with you tomorrow on the earnings play with Pure Storage, that pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow on each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.